we are government. Well, of course, they accused me of trying to form a broad-based government. Some years ago, I did speak to several of the members of the opposition and tried to persuade them that in these small islands, contentious adversarial politics is going to destroy the fabric of the society. And that we have to find some basis of coming together. And I spoke to many of the well-known names that you know on the other side. And my own side, I'll tell you, my own side nearly ostracized me. And accused me of trying to sell out. But what I say to you, albeit that I'm Prime Minister, I still believe that there is a need for us to understand that we can maintain our difference, because we don't want, I'm not suggesting we're going to have a dictatorship with a one-party system, but I say there must be areas of common ground where the interest of the country is paramount to any other party. We are spending about $60 million in roads, most of it going round south. When you come for Carnival, you won't believe what it's like going around to Old Road, running all the way from the town right out there. And that is part of our infrastructure. We are organizing a National Industrial and Agricultural Exhibition for this year. And we have done something, again, a social legislation that I am so proud of to be associated with. Apart from the fact that we showed a certain contempt for women in the society, we demonstrated also a lack of concern for the aged. Your grandmother, your grandfather. I was amazed as a politician to go around my constituency and to see the amount of old people abandoned literally by young people who are working both over here and in Antigua and Barbuda. It's a disgrace. Where is our humanity? We say we're a civilized society. And so you know what we did? We created what we call the home health program. In my constituency, we employ 5 women who go around to these different homes. And when these people and these older people cannot take care of themselves, it's not enough to cart them up and put them in fines. That is debilitating. We wash them, we clean them, we go for their prescription every single day. And that is now being institutionalized into what we call the National Home Health Program. Something wrong with that? But you don't hear nothing about that. You wouldn't hear that. You wouldn't hear a fact that I went to the United Nations and made a speech. You ain't gonna read that in no outlet. You ain't gonna read that in no Observer. I spoke for over nearly an hour and all the things that we're doing in terms of the 7 months we're there. And all you get is they extract it out of context and seek to ridicule it. And that's what you get over here. So, but I'm not complaining. I'm a big boy. I've been in politics a long time. I take my blows. And ain't nobody going to defocus me. I don't care who it is. Because at the end of 5 years, as I told them, where is it? I see it over here. Give me 1 term as Prime Minister and I will earn the rest. So, these are some of the things that we're doing. We now have a situation where there are public utilities. If there's a power surge and it damages your equipment, negligence or carelessness, you get recompense. We tighten the relationship with cable and wireless. We're now, you don't have to get overseas. You no longer have to put down all this money. We are moving to control urban development, as Comrade Jeremy has said, and cutting out squatting, and we want to subdivide the lands so that we can have development areas, so those of you who genuinely want to have a piece of the rock you can stay over here and buy a piece of the rock. We have 3 housing programs involved, which we're hoping to consummate within the next 30 days. We are going to set them up to max, we're going to advertise them, and we're going to say to you, send some of the foreign exchange from over here, man, back to Antigua. You can't all come out to Antigua over here. 50 cents in every dollar, 58 cents in every dollar that we earn in tourism comes back into this country. So those of you who are living over here, we're going to try and encourage you, as the Jamaicans have done for donkey's years, of reinvesting back in their country. You must begin to have that kind of feeling for your country. You don't belong to Lester Bird. You don't belong to George Walton. You don't belong to Baldwin Spencer. It is you who must demonstrate that you have a commitment and move away from the subjective personality issue that you are being dragged into. There are people who will thrive upon that. But I want you to be objective. All I ask for is a level playing field. And I can meet any challenge. The immediate task, of course, is to get the economy going, to get rapid development. I could sit here and give you a litany of all the projects that are coming up. But I'd just like to refer you, those of you who have been recently, the airport is absolutely transformed. The only problem is, as I told them from the beginning, you got to air condition it. That is the only thing that is really fundamentally wrong with it. And it will be air conditioned. And we are building our airport, the first in the Caribbean, for what we call a tourism-oriented airport. We change the color, everybody laugh, it's salmon color. You come off the plane in the Caribbean, when you go in, it's going to be like you're in a hotel. That is the notion behind it. And then we're going to build an entertainment center right next to it, so that people can go to the airport as a complex in itself. That's part of the notion of what we're doing. Tourism is 61% of our gross domestic product. We got to begin to make sure that that all aspect of tourism develops. So the airport, we pump $10 million into the airport. That is what we have done. I've come into that. I want to say this to you. Between 1989 and 1990 or 91, when I resigned from the government, some of you may not remember that. I resigned from the government and I went back into the government. One of the major bones of contention was the notion of foreign investment. Even within my own party, you go and read Hansard, that is the reports of the parliament. And I'm castigated for giving away the country. Now what I mean giving away the country? Seemingly I had a knack to be able to attract foreign investment into the country, to create jobs, to create and expand the economy. I don't want there to be any doubt about where I stand on this issue. We cannot allow the total command and heights of the economy to be owned by foreigners alone. But there is not enough domestic savings in the banks in Antigua. There's not enough capital formation. We're too small. Our population is too small. Therefore, we don't generate enough monies within the banking system to be able to have the kind of development and capital investment. And it is not just Antigua alone. It happens in even first world countries. And so you are going to have to invite investment from outside. So when the notion comes along that all we want to do is give away the country to white people, it's all very well and good for those of you who stay over here, and I know you're in the daily cutting edge of the racism. It's very easy for you to gravitate towards that. But in running a country, it's a different matter. An independent country that is no longer a colony, and I know I can't depend upon Britain for nothing. You have to attract some investment into the country. That's reality. I just came back from Geneva. And the man who is the majority shareholder in refinery, wants to move the refinery, build a modern state-of-the-art refinery, and on the land where the refinery now is, because the city is expanding and the tourism is expanding, to build a tourism project in that area. And of course, the dust had hardly settled before the cries have begun, I don't want that, I don't want that. So all I'm saying to you is, you'll be hearing in a few months, because I'm taking it to Parliament. I'm not doing anything by no surreptitious means. I am prepared to go to Parliament and debate the merits of having that kind of foreign investment in the country. And I'm saying to you, we cannot build the country alone. We need to have some foreign investment in the country. With respect to yourselves, I think we've passed the stage for the pleasantries of merely inviting you to return home and make a contribution. We got to get down to the real meat of the situation and to begin to identify what you can do to help Antigua. As I said before, there is need for a human resource data bank to be established in each major city where Antiguans live. Our missions abroad need to reach out more and be better positioned to advise the government on the resources which are available from among its own citizens. It works both ways. Very often the government is in need of expert advice and technical assistance. I am pleasantly surprised by the vast wealth of knowledge and expertise we have available from among you, our citizens overseas. I would like a situation where, if the government needed technical assistance in some area, it could contact its mission abroad and give first preference to recruiting one of its own to return home for a short stint or a long stint, if they so desire, according to the same benefits and privileges as would have been given to any other foreigner. I'm going to ask that such a human resource data bank be created as a matter of urgency. Wouldn't it be a significant achievement if we could get Desmond Emmanuel's firm, for example, to return home and develop a major housing program and also to build Parham Town back to what it was supposed to be? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Well, we're going to try to make sure that happens. In speaking to some of you over the past week, I recognize and appreciate your anxiety to learn of the measures the government is putting in place to entice and welcome you back home. But at the bottom line, remember, we are trying to entice you, but you're not a foreigner. It's your home. And therefore, we expect you also to reach out. As far as owning land, as I said before, formerly lands were subdivided and sold on an ad hoc basis. We recognize now that there is need for greater planning of our development, and as such we'll be streamlining the subdivision of lands. An advantage of this is that we'll have a schedule of developments which can again be made available to our missions abroad. The scope in the Ministry of Home Affairs for a non-resident citizen department, that's what I'm hoping to establish. Here, I envisage a facility whereby Antiguan and Barbudan citizens living abroad and seeking information or desirous of doing business back home can simply contact the department through mail or telephone or through the ambassador and have their particular area of concern researched and the relevant information provided to you as soon as possible. It should be possible for all these things to be made available to you. I talked to you about our hospital. And we also, as I said, working with the job creation in the country. We know that when many of you come back to Antigua, although you're born in Antigua, the immigration at the airport asks you how long you talk. And don't care how we talk to the police. Many of them are not from Antigua and they don't know you. And so you get a lot of hassle. So we're trying to see if we can't move the immigration into a civilian immigration. That is one of the things we're trying to do. And to train the people so that they'll be more sensitive to the fact that, you know, we are all Antiguans and Barbudans. And even though you're overseas, you still have the rights as those of us who live here. The problem with customs is that we can't seem to get enough qualified young men to go into the customs. And a lot of the young people in there don't even have the basic qualification. And that is why we're going to establish a civil service college. We're about to start a civil service college. And that will help to train those people who may not have the basic educational level to a certain level, which would then allow them entry into something like the customs department. But you are right. I mean, the customs department need absolute cleaning up. So I know that you want to may ask some questions, so I'm going to deal with Barbuda. First of all, let me say this. One of the reasons why I have been reluctant to come frontally with the situation in Barbuda is this whole question that is embedded in the very psyche of every Barbudan, that Codrington willed Barbuda to them. And that the lands therefore belong to them. Well, I want to make it clear tonight. My mother is Barbudan. Manti Bryan, a Barbudan. Amy Jeffrey was Barbudan. So no Barbudan in here have any more right to talk about Barbuda than Lester Bryant Bird. Let me make that quite clear. But the reality is that there is no such will. The reality is that Antigua and Barbuda, as of now, is one unitary state. The reality is, Mr. Russell John, you're listening to me? The reality is that the lands are vested in the crown. Now there is a law that says that you can't get a title in Barbuda. So you can't get fee simple for the land in Barbuda. Barbudans who live there are going to have to decide whether or not they want that situation to continue. Right. Because in the absence of having fee simple, you can't go to the bank and borrow any money, because they won't lend you on a lease. Can't sell either. But you can't sell either. Exactly. So that is not a question that I am going to deal with. That is a question the Barbudan people themselves must decide. But one thing that has come out of the case involving the sand is that Mr. Justice Albert Redhead sent down his judgment last week. And there's one thing that he has made very clear. The lands belong to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, vested in the crown, and that don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. That is the judgment of the court. And so now I am ready to move forward. I'll be visiting Barbuda in the next 2 weeks. I have already asked for a reverse osmosis plan for them to go and make sure that the brackish water is made clean. Despite all our water you drink from well and so on, it's still dirty. And you need a reverse osmosis plant to get that organized. And we're going to make sure, I don't want to steal your thunder, but we are about to go in and build the roads. Notwithstanding what the council say, we're going to build the roads. Are coming good? Are coming good? But you know we're giving electricity for free, virtually. But we don't need 1,200 people and they can't support an electricity generator. And so we put it in and all of us subsidize it to make sure that the people of Barbuda have the electricity. So let us not just say that we are very selfish. So we're going to have the road network, and we are also going to make sure that the hospital in Barbuda is fully upgraded once again to make sure it can fulfill. Then we need the airport. The question is whether we expand it going east or whether we come west. It looks to me like we have to come west, and we're going to have the passport extended so that you can have the -8 and so on landing in Barbuda at all hours, day and night. Yes, the terminal, that is not a terminal you have there. We're going to knock that down and build a proper terminal in Barbuda. So we're well on the track. It is being suggested that the school system should be handed over to Barbuda for them to run it. I don't have any contention with that if that's what the people of Barbuda want. I, however, think you should be locked into the national school system to get all the benefits that go with that. Because you may be a little bit too small to operate your own education system. But all the other things that have been dealt with, we will be making sure that Barbuda also get the benefits. But just to wind up my thing, I have here a manifesto. After you've discussed it and you want to ask any question, we have already completed 1/3 of the things in here that we say we were going to do. We put out that election a list of 21 things that we said we were going to do. We have already done 14 of them. I'm trying to say, in Antigua, here is Barbuda. I said that to say this. I am saying to you, seriously now, this is a government that is performing, that has the interest of the country at heart, and we are going to make sure that at the end of the 5-year period, Antigua and Barbuda, once we remove its external debt and get it restructured, our economy will be the best in the whole Eastern Caribbean. In terms of growth, in terms of per capita income, in terms of quality of life. And you mustn't knock it. You must be proud of it. You must respect and have some regard for your own country. Antigua, for those of you who haven't been visiting the other islands, is far better off than most other islands in Eastern Caribbean. And I'm not saying that we should be content, because there's tremendous scope for growth and improvement. But I guarantee you that at the end of the day, you're going to be proud of your own country even more than you are now. And we welcome you to come and participate. It's your country, it's our country. Let us make sure that when you come to the next carnival, that the only calypsos you won't hear are the constant calypsos of how bad it is in Antigua and Barbuda. Because the reality is, we're bigger than them, we're better than them. Antigua and Barbuda is upward and empowerment of its people. The problem is, we have so much freedom in Antigua and Barbuda that people believe it's a license to say what you like, do what you like. But freedom is not license to do what you like. Freedom is an opportunity for responsibility to develop. And we therefore need, as a group of people, wherever we may find ourselves, to understand that we have a duty to our country and to the next generation of Antiguans and Barbudans. Thank you for listening to me so patiently. Any questions you want to ask?